Hi everyone, Adam here, once again participating in the Slashback challenge created by Joe the HORRORman. I'll leave a link to the original video for those who want to know what it's about or feel like participating. And this week's theme was number 2s. So I watched the original Scream a couple of weeks ago. This was the perfect excuse to revisit the sequel. Once again, Neve Campbell returns. So does David Arquette, Courtney Cox, and Jamie Kennedy, and rounding out the cast is Elise Neal, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Timothy Oliphant, Jerry O'Connell, and Laurie Metcalf. And returning from Scream after a very small role, Liev Schreiber as Cotton Weary. So 2 years after the first Scream, Sydney is trying to adapt to college life, but still having to live with the burden of the previous events of Scream. But it's hard to live a life when a movie about the events of what's happened to her has just been released, which is based on a book written by Gail Weathers. And at the sneak preview of what the movie has been called, Stab, a couple is murdered by somebody in a ghost face mask. Yeah, but the problem is there was a lot of other people wearing ghost face masks too, because it was a premiere of Stab and it was a free gift. And maybe my American buddies can answer me this. Is it really that wild in an American movie? Or is that an over-exaggeration because we're a very passive audience? Does it really go that insane? And now Sydney has a new support group of friends, well, obviously because all her other ones are dead. Apart from Randy, who survived, of course. But soon more victims start to show up, and there's a definite pattern here. They have similar names to the victims of the original Woodsboro murders, as it's been called. So the killer basically finds victims that has a similar name to the previous victims and going in the same kind of order at first. So of course with this happening, it seems like somebody is making a real-life sequel to the original murders, which is kind of a clever way for the movie to talk about sequels and how they're very rarely as good as the original, which this one I don't think is, but it kind of gets away with it by having a commentary on sequels. So, and also Courtney Cox is back as Gail Weathers, who plays at first a total sellout, but then a character evolves and becomes less selfish, which was a nice story arc. Another thing I liked, it tied up the loose end of Cotton Weary from the first one. And even though Liev Schreiber, who plays Cotton Weary, is only in a few scenes, every scene he's in, he pretty much steals that scene. And another thing this movie comments on is how in sequels body count's bigger and the death scenes are more elaborate, which in this they pretty much are. There's a couple of memorable ones. CC's death, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who gets thrown off a balcony. Probably a standout one is the 2 police officers trying to protect Sydney, which basically involves a car and a steel pipe, and some pretty impressive makeup effects. If you remember that scene in the movie where they get trapped in the car, and that's actually a pretty intense scene where they have to climb out and climb over the killer. Once again, Neve Campbell returns, playing Sydney with a lot of strength, and she does fight back too, which is always good to see. So, as for the reveal of the killers, of course, if you've seen it before, it's not really a surprise, but at the time, it kind of worked, and the excuse as to why they were killing, yeah, it kind of makes sense. But I think it's a decent sequel. It's not the worst in the franchise, to be honest. And it still has a lot of entertainment value, and pretty much the whole cast do pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to finish up Slashback Saturday there. Have a good one. I'm Adam, and I'll see you again soon.